and welcome to the Burrow Home Bar. This is my home, the Burrow, and this is my bar. Today we're going to be making a classic Negroni. Now, I was a latecomer to Negronis. I hadn't had one until about 2017, 2018, and I wasn't too much of a fan at the start. I found it quite bitter and quite strong, but the more I had it, just like anything else, and I tried it at different bars and I tried it at home, and now I say this a lot, but I would say it's my top 5 favourite drinks, and it's my husband's #1 favourite drink, so we make it quite a lot here at the Burrow. Now, you get different variations of Negroni. Some people think a Negroni is a Negroni, but that's not true. You can swap the gin for other things, you can swap the vermouth, you can even swap the aperitif. So today we're doing a classic Negroni, and that is using gin, Campari, which is an Italian aperitif, which is meant to be had before dinner, but you can have it anytime, and a sweet vermouth. And we're also using bitters today, but I'll come to that a little bit later. So yeah, variations on a Negroni. You can use, instead of gin, you can use sloe gin for a sloe gin Negroni. That is really nice. I love a sloe gin. You can completely take out the Campari and the gin and replace it with pink gin and Aperol, which is another Italian aperitif, and that one's really nice. It's really summery and fresh. With the vermouth, you can take out this vermouth, and the one that we're using today is a Carpano Antica formula, which is the creme de la creme for vermouths for Negronis, 100%. But you can take that out and use a cherry blossom vermouth, and that is a really beautiful cocktail as well. My favourite variation on a Negroni is to use bourbon instead of gin. And I can't remember how this cocktail is pronounced, so I wrote it down. It's a Boulevardier. I always forget that. A Boulevardier. That is the bourbon version, and that is my personal favourite because I like bourbon. But today we're going to use gin because that's sort of the classic Negroni. So we'll get started. A really good thing about a Negroni is that there's the measurements are all the same, so it's all equal parts. So there's no 50ml this, 20ml this, 50ml. It's all going to be 25ml for all of them, so it's really easy to remember. So we're going to start with our gin. I'm going to use Silent Pool gin. I like lots of different types of gin, but this one's kind of on its way out. I don't have much left, so I thought I'd finish that up. So we're going to do 25ml of gin, and that just goes in your shaker. Now, I'm going to do this in a cocktail shaker because I don't have a mixing cocktail glass, but we're not going to mix it, we're going to stir it and not shake, basically. The reason for that is a Negroni is quite a strong tasting cocktail, and you don't want to dilute it by shaking it and aerating it with lots of ice in the shaker. We're just going to add ice at the end and give it a quick stir and add it to a nice cold glass. So with Negronis, you never want to shake it, you always just want to stir it. So as I said, I'm just going to stir mine just in this cocktail shaker. So that's 25ml gin. 25ml of Campari. Campari is a beautiful kind of, it is really bitter, really citrusy, and you can use it in lots of drinks. But if you're not too much of a bitter fan, maybe you could swap this for Aperol, and that would probably suit you a little bit better. I think it's lovely. And then the Antica formula, this really is the best vermouth to sweet red vermouth, which is Italian fortified wine, really is the best vermouth to use. Oh, I love that pop. Hold on. That's a good pop. I love that noise when the cork comes out. Amazing. Okay, so 25ml of this as well. There we go. Now that is your Negroni. What I'm going to do is just add a few dashes of orange bitters. Totally don't need this. If you don't have it, that's fine, because the cocktail will taste almost the same without it. The only reason I'm putting it in is because I'm going to use orange peel to garnish, so it just complements that. So I'm just going to add a few dashes of orange bitters. And there we go. So I'm just going to add some ice to the shaker. And then just with a bar spoon or anything that you've got at all, I'm just going to give that a good stir. So as you feel it, if you're doing it in a shaker or a glass actually, you'll kind of feel it getting colder and colder. And you'll actually start to see kind of frost forming on the outside as well. That's when you know that it's good to go. You don't want to over mix it because you don't want it to be too diluted, the drink. can start to see that now. So great. So as I mentioned, I have a glass in the freezer. I quite often have a few glasses in the freezer for cocktails like this. So I'm just going to grab that now. And it already has a large ice cube in the middle. So a really important thing with a Negroni is not to, again, dilute it with lots of little ice cubes. What you really want ideally is one big ice cube, one square right in the middle, and that'll keep your drink nice and cool, but it won't dilute it, and also it looks cool, and it makes it look like you've got a lot more drink in your glass as well. So, give it a taste. Oh, so good. So I'm just going to pour this straight in here. Cool, very good. Very excited. So there we go. So garnished is just going to be really simple today. As I said, it's just going to be some orange peel. So you just need an orange and a peeler. And you just want to take a little strip of the orange. So try and do it as thin as you can to not get too much of the pith in there. There we go. Now you can use it like this, or I'm just going to tidy up the edges a little bit. I'm going to do it on my little cocktail garnish board that one of my best friends got me for my birthday, little Burrow bar. So I'm just going to trim up slightly on here. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to express the oils onto the drink first, so it's just squeezing the zest onto the drink, and that'll just give it kind of a nice smell before you drink it as well. You can do this with a match, so you can light the match and you can heat the orange peel a little bit, and then when you squeeze it over the match and over the drink, it makes a little spark, but we're going to miss that step today. So we're just going to take the orange peel, and you won't be able to see it in the video, but if you do it yourself at home and you watch, you can actually see the oil coming out from the zest. There we go, cool. So I'm going to wipe that around the glass, then just give it a little twist. There we go, and just pop it in. There we go, and that is a classic Negroni. Hope you enjoyed this video and enjoy your Negroni. Cheers, happy cocktailing.